Hello, everyone. This is the sermon recap for
Yes.
Yes.
I'm excited about the sermon recap, especially this one. I remember when we did these in Bible study before, and
Online
it was
Bible
just,
studies,
yes,
right?
yeah, and it was so intriguing, and it opened up a whole new world of our understanding of Lazarus,
And the rich man, and
Yeah,
that's what I
and the rich
preached on. And I had that right there, Luke chapter
Yes.
16, verses 19 through 31. Like you said, that's the parable of the rich man or a rich man
a rich man and Lazarus.
and
Yes,
Lazarus. And I call it, it's not what you think. I have to give credit for this sermon. The one that really opened the pathway for me to really launch into this understanding was Tim Mackey.
yes, from the Bible Project. I love Tim Mackey. Yes.
So, but you mentioned Bible study, Evelyn. The Bible studies that we do are very interactive, much like these right here.
Yes.
Yeah, like-
It's done like this, but also in Zoom form.
Yeah,
So,
so-
you can interact with us and be a part. You are a part of the discussion and the study. So
Yeah, so I it's really cool. It's not a boring Zoom meeting. It's like you see the stuff on the screen. I have movies and animations. I'm saying that because currently I am working on launching that.
and that's for everybody, not just the people at the church. It's
Yeah, it's for everyone who, if you have the link, you'll be able to sign on.
Right.
So I'm thinking about launching that in the new year. Okay.
I'm excited about
Lots
that.
to do in the meantime.
Yeah.
Well, look at that picture I have right there. It's kind of like a disturbing picture, and this is AI generated. It's kind of a modern thing. There's a successful rich man, or the appearance of one, right? And you got this like sickly old human being. Look, there's a dog bowl there.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Well, in the passage, it does mention things like that.
Yeah.
And it's just it's such a disturbing image. And if you go on the website, you're like, oh, that is a disturbing image on one of the websites. But I put that there on purpose.
Yes.
Okay. And it's an attention grabber. But we got some, let me get this stuff off our screen. We got, it says Koine Greek translation to English.
And Koine Greek is a dead language. It is dead.
I mean, people they don't speak it anymore. And
So if you went to Greece right now and you spoke that language, they might catch bits and pieces, but it's not the same language that they speak right now.
you're not to speak in my language.
It's a dead language.
Well, this is important because within this passage, I mentioned that the translations, some are unclear. I'm not saying they get it wrong.
Right.
It's unclear, right? And I want to be very careful with that. No translation can ever like fully clarify perfectly.
Right.
Okay, and especially with this translation. So what I have here, Evelyn, I did this during the summer sermon, but we'll do it. I'll take the Greek and you take the English.
Okay.
And it'll pop up on the screen right there. I'll take the first one, kat en to hade.
And in Hades.
Okay, so that translates across very well. Ka or kai, depending on how you learn Greek pronunciation, is and, en is in, and to hades. To is the article. They tend to put that there and say in, toward, or in a place of Hades. And in Hades, I'll take the next line, aparas tus ophthalmos altu.
He lifted his eyes.
This is really interesting, that third word, ophthalmos. What do you hear there?
Ophthalmos.
Yeah, optometrist.
Anybody in the medical profession would
You'll pick up on that.
Yeah.
So right now, we have, and in Hades, he lifted his eyes. By the way, that portion of history within Jewish culture is Hades, okay? Hades, and it comes over from Sheol, and it has this whole development of its very own.
Right.
That'll be a cool Bible study one time, okay? Basically, it eventually led to our understanding today, but it developed, okay? Right. So let's move on. Huparkon, and basanois, and that translates...
being in torment.
Now, I will tell you that some translations say being tormented, okay? And if you look here, it says huparkon, en is in. That word means in, at, okay? And basanois is, if you notice, it's not a verb.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
This is very important that it's not a verb, but some translations do turn it into a verb. Some translations say being tormented.
Yes, but in Koine Greek, the translation is not a verb.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
you can get there by stretching a little bit, because if you're in torment, you're being tormented by something.
Now, would other translations like Hebrew, would it
Well,
translating Hebrew into
the
a
thing
verb.
is, it's the New Testament, so the original is Greek. So
Okay,
if you're going
gotcha,
from
yeah.
Old Testament, yeah, that's a good observation because Old Testament, now we're talking Hebrew or some portions
Right.
Aramaic. Okay, so
So
that
wouldn't this be, because it's the Koine Greek, in translation, wouldn't this be the more proper?
it is. Yeah, that is
okay.
literally what you're looking at, being, while
So-
being in a state of torment
Right.
is what it's saying.
So my question is, when you say some Bibles say
Some translations,
some
yeah.
translations in certain Bibles will say it a different way. Does that make them incorrect?
I think it makes it unclear. Okay. Because, I mean, I guess you can get to, if you're being tormented, you can assume that you're in a state of torment. But it does, with certain theologies of hell and understandings of the afterlife, paint the vision of, they're being tormented.
And we're going to be in hell, being
you
tormented
picture
by
like stakes and all this stuff, people stabbing you.
burning you up.
Yeah,
and
it's kind of
flames
like,
and
how are you
stuff.
going to fill in that, what it's like to be in torment? So to me, this Greek, going back to the original Greek and remaining with the word for word, it really, you'll see in a few.
I was about to say, this is going to set the stage for what it may mean properly in context.
Yeah.
And when you hear it like this, it really makes you look at it differently, which I find it intriguing. And for me, it makes a difference in how I see it.
That's what I was going to say. To me, it leads to a proper understanding of what Jesus was getting at, rather than a theological, cultural understanding of something that has like developed into because of things like this.
Right.
Okay. And then hati hadunome, hati adunome. That's you take that.
For, because I am in anguish.
Okay, so that's first person anguish, and for because hati. Okay. Ento flogi taute.
In this flame.
And so that's the other one. Some translations take now flogi that's singular. It's not plural. And into this flame. And some translations make that plural and they say in these flames. That's a big stretch if you ask me.
Right, because that's where your picture, you immediately picture you're in a bunch of flames and fire, you're on fire,
Yeah.
basically. That's not what this is saying.
So if you put that together with like being tormented in these flames, that takes you to a place, and I think it's a departure from what Jesus was originally intending.
Instead, it's because I'm in anguish in this flame.
You get it? Yeah, man. I'm like, okay. I don't know if that translated well. My
Well, that sounded
so here it
like
is. I put it
anguish.
in red or orange, however your monitor translate this. You want to just read that and emphasize
Okay.
those red marks?
And in Hades, while being in torment, he lifted his eyes and saw Abraham far away, and Lazarus by his side. He called out, saying, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus in order to dip the tip of his finger in cool water and my
fine, and we get
in
the same
water
thing.
and cool my tongue, for I am in anguish in this flame.
Okay, so that's you want to look for your translations that state that. The NRSV is the one that kind of takes a little too liberties with that. I think the ESV, I think the King James gets it accurate. I don't know, just check me. But what I'm saying is, if you shift those words around, you end up with a totally different understanding of theology. Okay. That's if you're going to take the time to think about it. Now, so the whole idea that this is saying, that I argued during the sermon, is that this person was his own tormentor.
Right.
Okay. So let's break that down. And so once you start with this, everything else supports this. Okay.
And this just makes so much sense if you think about it.
It does. It really does. Plus, this whole section is about money and riches. Okay, so the first thing is the rich man does not ask Abraham to bring him out of Hades. Now, if I'm like being tormented, surrounded by fire, being poked by demons and stuff, get me out of here.
Exactly.
That's the first thing I'm thinking. Get me as far away from this place as possible, okay?
Yeah.
And I say, even though he believes look at that misspelling. That's going to help me fill in the blanks, Evelyn. That's going to drive me nuts. You see it?
Yes,
That's huge.
I see
Let me
it.
fix it right now.
Oh.
Boom.
I like
Okay.
that you're fixing that.
Bam. Okay. Even though he believes, and that's just
Yeah.
a capital, whatever. He believes that the chasm between them can be crossed. At this point in the story, he believes that the chasm can be crossed. Why is that? How do we know he believes that? Because
Yes. Yeah, he wants Lazarus to cross the chasm into Hades in order to serve him. Here's what I find very interesting
Okay,
before I'll let you pass the baton to you. Notice that the rich man doesn't ask Lazarus. He has no respect. He will
my
ask
gosh.
Abraham
Yeah.
to send Lazarus. He still doesn't give a hoot about Lazarus, and he asks that hierarchy. He asks the Abraham, which he probably feels
the
like
hierarchy. That's the right word. Yeah, because
like
Abraham
he feels
is the
like
top.
he is the king who has to talk to Abraham, and he won't lower himself to talk to Lazarus.
You know,
Lazarus.
I gotta just do one of these for you right now. Okay, and let's do another one because I think this is tremendous fun. Yeah. No, I didn't get that.
I kept
Very
thinking
good.
about that when you were doing the
That's
sermon
awesome,
today.
and I think that's accurate.
It's insulting.
It's very insulting. Like, so he wants Lazarus to leave his paradise, to leave his and come and serve me. So he believes that this chasm can be crossed, and again, he doesn't ask to leave, and you gotta wonder why. Well,
There's no love.
There you go. There's no love. He shows no remorse. He has not changed a bit.
Yeah.
And you hear this, and you have to take time to slow down and like really examine these things because remember I said at that point he doesn't realize the chasm can't be crossed. He's told that later, so the order is important here. Okay, but I think it's fascinating. He doesn't want to leave. Okay, in other words. He's not surrounded by these flames. He's not being tormented by anyone but himself. Yeah. Have you ever met someone that's unsatisfied? They're always asking others to serve them. They're like, it's a life of like that.
Always complaining and not satisfied. So they think that other things can satisfy them.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And they live a life of misery.
Yeah, because they don't
serve
go.
me,
They
serve
don't.
me.
They don't go deeper.
It's never their fault.
Yeah.
It's always someone else's fault.
Yeah.
I blame you. You fix this. I'm like, whoa, why don't you fix
taking
this?
no responsibility.
I earned this. This is mine.
And
It's not
I
yours.
don't need to change. I'm okay the way I am.
Yeah, and to me, that's a miserable
I think
life.
we all need to work on ourselves, but that's another
You're
topic.
burning up in your own flame.
Yeah, I
Well, I'm glad that you say that. Some people don't want to change
Oh, well, there we go.
who they are. They just simply don't want to
Yeah.
change who they are. And here, I just have these last points here before we wrap this.
This was so funny because you wrote this out and I wasn't in the room with you, but we think alike anyway. It's just so
That
funny.
must be why it's our anniversary.
Oh, yeah. That's another story.
We'll talk about that in a second. So do you want to just grab these points here and speak
All right.
on them?
Character formation is important. How is that important? Character is part of our identity and what we are known for and what we were known as. And your character here will be intact in the afterlife.
Do you believe that?
Yes, I believe we will be who we are. And so I believe we're given a chance here to discover how unloving we are and how we need to love, because Jesus came to show us how to love properly.
That's fascinating that you say that, because there's the scripture, the famous scripture. So for God so loved the world in this manner that he sent his one and only begotten unique son. I'm expanding on the Greek. So he sent him, and we like to say to die. No, he sent him to show us how to live.
Yes.
It's like we like to jump right to the cross. It's like Jesus is born. Let's get him on that cross.
And what's really funny is he shows us how to live and we're all for it, but then we're like, okay, we're going to go back to our old way and kill you.
He did that, so we don't have to.
Yeah, but we killed him. And when I say we, I don't mean.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
You're actually talking
His
about
own people.
substitutionary atonement, which I actually have a varying view on, which I will not get
Another
into.
Bible study.
Oh my God! Well, yeah, let's
we have a
work
lot
our
of
way.
fun during those studies.
So that's it. It's all about character. I, for one, believe that your character goes with you. Listen, if you're pride filled and all this stuff here, just like the rich man was that way. Notice how it like made the transition from death, from when his dying into the life to come. Notice how Lazarus, it doesn't really get into his character there because it's not that he inherited everything the rich man has. His character remained intact. And I get the sense he was full of humility, relief.
And if you look at the picture, he's in the bosom of Abraham and he is being loved.
I got a cool vision.
He's
You
getting
get the
that
sense
love.
like if you were Abraham, And I say that because that's a Hebrew. That's how I,
Yes,
whatever.
and-
I
and
never always,
I say it that way in my head
so
too.
hard for me to
sometimes,
break
so.
it. I apologize for that, whatever. It's just what I do.
Abraham, Abraham.
But you get the,
tomato.
yeah. You get the point, like Abraham saying this and Lazarus is going, can I go over there and help him? Because he probably has a servant's heart. He doesn't want to see that.
Yeah.
I know what that's like. I need to go help him.
No, but it's like, oh, come here, Lazarus. You've done your job well. You don't
How's
need
this-
to do
how's this
that. We don't want to
translating on
send
video?
you back there. I don't know, but this
It is our anniversary.
Yes, I was about to say that.
So the
but
funny thing happened during one of the services, and every year it's not me that forgets. Everyone forgets too.
we both forget our anniversary. And what is funny is we have friends that will text us and say happy anniversary. And we're like, how can I scramble and text Kendall happy anniversary if I'm not with him, or tell him happy anniversary? Who's going to say it first? But
Never once do I get. But yeah, so that's that.
But I
happened.
don't feel bad because he forgets and I forget. And,
So
we're just happy
I
that
have
we,
this. Why do I have this?
to remind you of your anniversary.
No. Oh, it's an 8-ball. Why do I have this?
Because of next week's sermon.
Well, it's Halloween season.
Yes.
I figured. Well, you're gonna have to stick around and find out. But thanks for joining us for the sermon recap. This was a fun deep dive.
Did you go to the very end where we talked about Abraham as his own worst enemy, really? And that's...
You mean the rich man?
Yeah. Yes, I'm sorry. The rich man.
I think we
yes.
kind of like got into that.
It's
when
his
we
own
broke
hell.
down.
Yeah.
It is. And I think people create their own. And that's the whole thing. Does God send people to hell? No, he actually honors your choice of not wanting to be in heaven or not wanting to have anything to do with this.
Because
Yeah.
the rich
Well,
man
we're saved.
didn't ask
Jesus
if he
came
could
to
be...
save us from whose sins? His? No. Jesus has none. For yours? No. From our own.
So the rich man decided he didn't want to ask to go to the other side.
I think he shows no character formation. This is who I am. I like myself. I'm not in a bad place.
Just send me a servant.
He doesn't even know he's in hell. He recognizes that he's not satisfied
That he's tormented because
by
he's not
his
satisfied.
own self.
Yes.
And I've seen people on this earth alive
Full of anger. Yeah.
and I'm like, man, let that go. Life is so much better without hating everyone or judging
when
everyone.
when you stop watching the news, our lives are a little bit better.
You're so right. Oh my gosh. You know what? Bring the good news. Don't sponge in the bad news.
Yeah.
All right. So that's what we have today. Thanks for joining us.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary, honey. Oh my gosh. We'll step on here for the announcements during the week. Enjoy and God bless. If you need anything, reach out. Where's the finish button? I see it over there. I can't reach it though.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.